I'm Anne Butera. I'm the host of Sips of Inspiration, mini interviews to encourage your creativity. Today is our first interview, and I have Jenny Blair with me here. I just find it so amazing that through the internet and through technology and social media, we can connect like this. I'm in Wisconsin and Jenny is in Scotland. And Jenny and I first crossed paths when we were both blogging. And I don't know, are you still blogging, Jenny?
No,
Oh, okay.
actually, no. But yeah, that was a long time ago, wasn't it?
Yes. So yeah, and we've gone down various paths along the way. So I'll stop talking now and I'll just ask Jenny, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Okay, well, I'm Jenny Blair, and I would describe myself now as an artist and designer that sort of channels things in stitch, basically. So I design and sell embroidery kits. But like Anne said, when I began way back in the blogging days, I was really sort of discovering my whole creativity, and it's been a very sort of gradual evolution, starting from mixed media to surface design, and it's kind of like everything's all merged together. And it's my real love is what I follow now, and that's the embroidery kits. So I sell them online, and currently actually my exciting new project is I'm looking into a studio slash shop. So I work from home, and yeah, so this is what I've been doing lately is kind of outgrown my space. And yeah, I think as an artist you always want to expand, and so this is kind of where my creativity is taking me next, is in a more sort of physical form. So yeah, it's going to be in a shop.
That's so amazing. I wish I lived closer so I could come visit your shop.
Yeah, oh, I would love that. Yeah, well, I've just got so many ideas. It's not just supporting other people and getting their art to share. It would be a base for, selling my kits and making the kits, but also, I could do so many workshops.
Yeah.
And just, the possibilities are endless, really, which is what I find really exciting. And I'm fortunate to live somewhere, it's a small town, so there's a great sort of community involvement, so there's lots of interest, but also buildings are cheap because it's so quiet. The town's so quiet. It's like trying to regenerate the town and get people involved. Yeah, so that feels really exciting. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's similar in my town. It's small, and we have every year, just before Christmas time, there's a pop-up shop program, and people can apply to have their rent paid for them for a certain period of time, just sort of to test out their businesses. And it's so exciting because so many creative ideas come about that way, and people can take their dreams and run with them.
Yeah, I know that pop-up shops are a great idea, aren't they? Yeah. I think if the fact that I've established my business now as selling embroidery kits, I don't need to rely on the shop. It's like I have a business that sustains itself, the premises, excuse me, to make the kits. But it just adds a whole new dimension to my life. But yeah, it's very exciting.
So exciting. Do you have any partners that you're thinking about working with?
Just local people that, there's so many talented people around here. A lot of people maybe dabble in crafts, so sort of sell or return to shops but still work. So like the way I started, basically. But there's so many different talents: lino printing, weaving, floral arranging, macrame, so many different things. It's like, oh well, I will have this space now, because again, it can be quite off-putting, I think, if you want to do a workshop, you've got to hire a space and cover the costs. And so they end up being quite expensive, which again makes it less accessible for people.
Mm-hmm.
So I just can have the space, I've got the space to invite people to use it, so yeah. But as for partners, yeah, I think there's a lot of people. I'll not be in partnership as in going into business with them. It'll still be my business as Jenny Blair Kits, but I can just introduce people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So my next question is, where do you find inspiration, and what do you do to get your inspiration and your creativity flowing? I know that can be difficult sometimes, and everyone has their own tricks and tips, and I'd love to hear what yours are.
So maybe I'm weird, or maybe this is normal, but I don't struggle from lack of inspiration or creativity. Like my problems are almost too many ideas, putting down on what idea to follow. So I've got sketchbooks full of ideas that I'm impatiently wanting to get to, but it's like, I kind of have had to learn to prioritize and sort of how to know which one to do. And mainly it just follows what feels the most exciting and the most kind of juiciest. And sometimes that'll only take me to a half-finished project, but it's like, okay, from that comes the next thing, So yeah, I feel like being stuck is never an issue. It's almost like a bottleneck. My ideas are so many that it can sometimes get clogged. So it's being aware of freeing up that. So just by making a decision, really. But my inspiration is found just from nature. I live in a small rural town. So just surrounded by hills, we've got standing stones, a local reservoir. It's a beautiful place to live. So, and you'll be able to tell from my kits that it's all nature inspired stuff. So yeah, nature's my inspiration, really. Yeah.
So my next question is kind of related to what you already talked about, and that, what is the biggest challenge for your creativity, and how do you work to overcome that? So if you have so many ideas, or I'll let you I'll let you explain. What
Yeah.
do you see your biggest challenge? Maybe it's not having so many ideas. Maybe it's something else.
Yeah, no, that my biggest challenge yeah, is choosing which one to follow, because I do have so many ideas, and I used to feel like if I if I had an idea, I had to follow through. Otherwise, I was not failing, but I just wasn't fulfilling my part of the deal of creative circle. But now I realize, I can have an idea, I can sketch it or write it down, and I can save it, because actually it's through doing this for years, because that's probably about 8 years ago we started our blog. So through that time I've had loads of ideas, and what I realize now is if it's a really good one, I'll come back to it, but it might just be 4 years later. So I notice a real circle in my creativity is that I've had these ideas stashed away and I've written them down or drawn them, and I'll flick back through my sketchbook and it'll just spark something off, and it's like, oh, and it's almost like there is a right time for everything, is what I'm realizing. So now I've got that kind of experience and knowledge that, okay, if it's not going to take off now, or I don't have the time or focus for that, if it is really a good one, come back to it, because I had this idea years ago. It was the word bold botanicals just kept going on in my head, and it was like, yeah, I want to design, and it's an embroidery design. This is right at the start, and kind of did a little bit, but it never really took off, and just never felt like I hit the brief fully of what I didn't know quite what I was trying to achieve. But well, 4 years later, I've started this botanical kind of theme in my embroidery kits, and they're just, I can't keep up with stock, and the design, I've got more and more ideas, so it's like the ideas are flowing. So I had that spark of an idea, and I wrote it down, and I did some sketches. I spent a summer sketching flowers, and it's like now it's kind of finally all sort of piecing together. So yeah, I don't know if that answers the question.
It does. And actually, listening to you talk makes me think about the importance of writing down and recording those ideas.
Yeah, and I mean, I didn't do it intentionally. It's like, for me, I don't know about how you experience creativity, but it's like I get this, it's almost like my foot's on the accelerator, and it's like I've got this internal, oh, it's got to come out. So if I don't just spend a bit of time drawing to get it out, it just bugs me. It's like, "Argh." So just by spending an hour or two sketching, it's like, oh, right, it's out now. Move on. And it's like the pent up sort of feeling has gone. And so it's never consciously, oh, I must record this. It's more like this is needing to be expressed, draw it, and then I'll see what happens after it. Yeah. But as it turns out, yeah, it's a great, oh God, I've got so many potential ideas in my sketchbook.
And you
Yeah,
can always go back to that and
absolutely. Yeah.
reclaim that.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. And if it's not following that idea that I had and jotted down, it sparks another idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you never know where it's going to go.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Wonderful. So my last question is, what is the best piece of creative advice that you've ever received? Or if no advice has really resonated with you, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned on your creative journey?
Yeah. Um the first the thing that sticks in my head, I wouldn't say I followed it. The thing with me and advice is I get given it, I'm sure we all do, but I have to find things out for myself. So someone can tell me that's not a great idea, but I won't feel fully satisfied until I know for sure myself. Because you never do know. It's always someone else's experience of it. And I like to prove people wrong as well, which I have done. Um, 6 years later, still self-employed and never had to get a job. This is my job. So, but I do remember one thing, reading somewhere was someone had said, if you can't make 1,000 of them, don't do it. So it's like, that's valuable advice, actually, as I discovered. Because at the start, before I did kits, what I was doing, I don't know if you remember, but I was making little original mixed media, which had loads of hand sewing in it, a bit of machine sewing, and I was selling them, and I just became a sort of mass producing machine, and it was just took the joy out of it. And actually, I felt so sort of frazzled by it because I was making for shops. I basically had so many orders that I just really struggled to keep up. And then I had a young family at the time as well. And it just put me off sewing. Like, I didn't pick up a needle. Like, I actually cancelled loads of orders, and I just said, I'm sorry, I can't make it, physically make them. And I didn't pick up a needle for about a year, which was a huge thing for me because embroidery, sewing is just my passion. But yeah, I just completely burnt out on making thousands. I didn't even make 1,000 of them, but I think from that experience, yeah, if it has to be, if you're selling something, you have to be able to make a lot of them and feel happy doing that. Otherwise, you're looking at the wrong business, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
that's wonderful. It's very good advice.
Yeah, I did find out the hard way.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Jenny, for joining us and sharing your creative journey with us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
And thank you, viewers, for joining in with Sips of Inspiration. Until next time, wishing you joy. Bye.